or this whole webinar has been talking about, thinking like an entrepreneurial knower during this process. So how has that helped you, or which specific ways do you think you've had to think like an entrepreneur to be more successful and moving from that outputs to outcomes mindset?
Sure. Well, I think one thing, when we think about the nature of working within cultures, societies, and then even just with individuals, needs are constantly changing, and the spaces we work in are constantly changing. We can't stay stuck in, well, we do this because we've always done it this way, or it worked 10 years ago, so surely it still works today. It may, but if we're not measuring and evaluating, we may not know that it's actually not working anymore. So
Yeah.
One example that I thought of was in our work with individuals and homelessness and trafficking during COVID, we had to adapt. So, and we couldn't take a year to decide what are our service going to look like in a COVID world. So you have to have a good team of people that can meet quickly as needed, evaluate your mission, evaluate your outputs and your outcomes, and say, okay, what adjustments can we make to make sure that the outcomes don't change? Because we're going to change our mission because of COVID. We're not going to change our mission because of a recession. So what are the adjustments we need to make to our activities and our outputs so that those outcomes can continue to be driven? So I think, and I love what you said too about the Eagles and the Ducks and needing both. Like you don't want to have everybody being an entrepreneurial visionary on your team. You want to have those people who say, oh, okay, come down here and tell me, answer this question. How are we going to do this? Who's going to do that? When does it need to be done by? How much is it going to cost? So you have this really healthy dynamic where you're leaning into all the different aspects of your team, but the entrepreneur is willing to say, yes, this may be uncertain. Yes, it might be scary, but we're not going to let that stop us.